Today we're going to have an overview of one of the modes that Tutela scans your infrastructure to get all the visibility that we spoke about before, that being network scanners. So when you first log in, you're going to see a UI like this. So you have the normal menu on your left hand side and then the main screen over here. The wiki is very informative. In fact, if you click on it, it will take you to a screen like this, and it is extremely useful so that you keep in mind what you need to do. So for example, today we're going to do the network scans. The network scan has a bunch of advantages, the main being that it is literally just a Docker agent that you need to install, and the installation is super simple. Once you install Docker according to the platform that you are on, you would be able to open a command line. Now I am running Windows, so you're going to see something like this, and it's literally copy paste, and it will go ahead and pull the network agent. So the advantage is that the agent needs to be present on only one machine in your internal network. Right? Now, obviously, your internal networks needs to be set up in such a way that this machine can actually reach anywhere else. Otherwise, the firewall is going to block the ports or the IPs. We won't realize that there is anything running there, and we're blind. So, number one is to make sure that you have the right setup internally. Docker pull, and you are almost good to go. The next thing that it says over here is that we need a targets file, basically one way, or an API key, basically a way of telling the agent what it needs to scan. And that is done down here. You have agent management. And if we go to agent management, now I have a bunch of keys, but you can generate a new key. Actually, let's go with this with the general API, right? You would add an API key, name it, whatever you want. This happens to be correct. So let's go and add agent targets. Here you would specify on a line by line whatever you need, right? So it's like, for example, 1 dot or 2.0 / 24, so on and so forth. Or you can have single IPs, right? Or you can say, listen, scan everything in this network except a sensitive host, I don't know, 192.168.1.1. Notice the little minus before. So those of you who use Nmap, very comfortable with this kind of syntax. And for now, we're just going to click on submit. Target has been added successfully. That's great. So in the general API, I have the targets that I would like to scan. Now over here, there are additional agent settings, and this is reserved for, let's say, advanced usage. Right now, that advanced usage is SNMP. As part of the scans that we do, we can run authenticated SNMP scans. So if I go over here and additional settings, it's going to tell me, it's going to pre-fill a kind of default JSON configuration where we have SNMP user, passphrase, etc., which you have to set up according to your infrastructure. Notice that you can only use one. So the username password has to be same across. You have to create a profile across all your targets, 192.168.1.0 in this case, which I have done, right? So I put in my passwords and all my details. You click on submit, and it's done successfully. We don't show it there because it's sensitive data as far as I know. So if I go back to agent management, correct. Alright, so now we have this set up, and underneath additional settings, we have the settings already set up. This is the now you can have as many API keys as you want, like I've done here, right? So you can have one there, and you set up additional network settings there. You know, you can scan just a single IP. Maybe you want a different schedule for that IP because it is a more important IP, that kind of stuff. Once you have the API key, you can use that in your network agent in your Docker server, which would be docker run divasalo cs tutela -api underscore key, and I copy paste the key. And we're going to let it run. So it's going to get my targets and it just starts to scan. This is obviously something that you can schedule. Now with Windows you can schedule it in the Windows scheduled tasks. In Linux it would be a cron job. We have a number of options for you. So you basically can and we make notes of this in the knowledge base. So you have a number of options. You can set it to scan daily, monthly, whatever you need, right? Different, as long as you use different API keys with different targets as well. So it's extremely flexible. No binaries to install. It will run on a Windows host like I just did over here, or on a Linux server. So it's extremely easy to set up. We did it in less than 5 minutes. What's the negative? The negative is that, like I just said, you need to have firewall rules that allow access to the entire network. But also, you need to keep in mind that this is a network scan, which means that we will only detect services or software that is running on your services, on your servers, that have a listening port, right? Let's say I have a piece of software, Windows Office, that is not listening on any port. A network scan won't pick that up. Even if you have a network service listening on a port, we might not be able to tell the version because it's some kind of weird port that we don't have a signature for. If you do have that and you realize that you have that, you would be able to contact support and we would put in the correct signatures for it to start supporting it. But the whole argument is easy to set up, not that thorough. But let's see what the results would look like, right? So the results would basically come into here, into the, I should show a better, let me change my, okay, the results come over here and we're going to start seeing critical, high, info, low, medium severity. Now, type needs to be network scans, right? So I mentioned in a previous video that we support different kinds of scanning. So what you're seeing over here, type, is actually what we've been talking about, whether you have a host agent or a network scan. We are right now focused on network scans. So let me filter by network scans. The UI is, let's say, interactive, right? If I want to see, so like you just saw, if I click on a pie chart or I click on this graph here, which means I want to see only critical, right? It automatically starts to filter for me. And if we see the results now, we have type set to network scan, right? We have the host, 192.168.1.88, the port, the service that's associated with the port, FTP in this case because it's 21, and the product and version that we detected, right? Either from network headers or from signatures, that kind of stuff. And the severity is critical. Now over here it tells you the CVE along with a description and additional details that tell you exactly the references that were over there, the attack complexity, and this and that. So the important thing to remember over here is that every port can have a service, every service can have a product and can have a version. However, the product and version is not a given because it is not always possible from just a network scan to detect what the product or version was. Once the agent finishes its scan, all that information is sent to the server. The server and then figures out which of these CVEs apply to this product and version. So if you want more thorough results, you need to have an agent, a host-based agent running. Okay, but it's very easy, as you saw, and it's normally the first thing that you do when you're trying to get things started. Now, there's going to be more details about this particular screen in the vulnerability management video, but we just wanted to show you how easy it was to set up the network-based scans. Thank you very much. That would be about it for this video.